Yo, I am Sybil, aka MomJonz, and I am here ready to talk with you live today. Yes, coffee chats are back on the schedule every Monday. I'm supposed to be here at 9 a.m. Eastern, but y'all know I'm always a little tardy to my own party this morning, but it's all good. It's all good. I have a good little chat to share with you today. Let me first find myself here live so I can share it out across all of my social media platforms, so all of the good folks in the world can hear what I got to say today. So as you are logging in or getting set, go ahead, leave me a comment, let me know where you're tuning in from, because I want to know. I'm in the DMV, the DC, Maryland, and Virginia area. That is where I am living currently. Because y'all know I like to move. My family is always moving. We're always on the go. But we are here in the U.S. now, still trying to get settled. Y'all see, I have nothing really on my walls. Still trying to get my life together, but it is what it is. All right, I got it shared out across my other social media platforms. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. So today I want to talk about, how neighborly are you? Are you neighborly? Do you talk to your neighbors? And we're also going to talk about when your college child calls with just odd requests, that your first response is, you really want to be like, H double hockey sticks. No, but you calm yourself down and you say no instead. Hey, in Brooklyn. Oh, it's all right. There's somebody watching. But how's the weather? How's the weather, Terrence? How's the weather doing in Brooklyn? We're gonna ignore any of the haters, because there is no room to hate here at Mamas and Coffee. It's all good, Lacosa. It's all good. You watching? That's all that matters to me. I got you watching, huh? All right. But anywho, so being neighborly. My neighbor is out right now mowing his grass, and my lovely dog, Miss Princess Tiana, she has been running around the house trying to get outside to see him. So when we first moved back to the U.S. from Bahrain, we met our neighbors like within the first couple of days, and they invited us over for a barbecue. And my greedy behind said, oh, heck yes, I'm coming. So we did go to the barbecue, and I talk to my neighbors all the time. If I'm outside and they're outside, I'm like, hey, how you doing? We have gone out together. We hang out together as a couple, and great people. And my dog apparently loves them too, which is a plus. Why? Because my dog, she goes out in our front yard, lays out in the yard, relax, and then she runs over into their yard, plays for a little bit, comes back. I think it's important to be neighborly, because you never know when you may need something. Not a cup of sugar, but just someone to look out for you. All right? Like if you go out of town and you have a package that's delivered at your home and you're not going to return home for a couple of days or for a week, you could ask your neighbor to retrieve your package from your front porch. Right? Like we all exchanged phone numbers. It's like, hey, I'm going to be out of town for a couple of days. I have a package. I forgot to cancel the Amazon delivery. Can you grab it off the porch for me? And I'll grab it for you when I return. Or maybe, you're sick, anything, right? It's just great, in my opinion, to be neighborly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are you neighborly? How friendly are you with your neighbors? And then let me talk about these college kids when they call. So one of my children, again, I was late today because my dog wanted to go be neighborly. So I was waiting on her to finish being friendly. But also with one of my college kids, she called to ask me because y'all, I'm cracking up because it's funny. And y'all may hear the lawnmower because my neighbor is mowing his grass right now. So just ignore that. I should knock on the window and tell him to shut that noise off, but I won't. But my college child, she called to ask about, we have TRICARE, military insurance, right? If they cover flu shots. So I'm like, yes, they do. Just go to your primary doctor. Well, her primary doctor is about 40 minutes away from campus. So she's like, I don't really want to go. I was like, all right, check CVS, Walgreens, Walmart. I know one of them is covered by TRICARE. I didn't know off the top of my head, but hey, you are an adult now, right? You're grownish. As I like to say, you're grownish. You are a legal adult. You need to do the research yourself to see if what TRICARE covers, right? Where I don't remember if they cover Walmart, CVS, Walgreens. I don't remember. So do that research. Call those stores, see, blah, 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 blah. Go in and get your flu shot. Well, she calls me back. One of them charges $31, $40. Oh, see, Terrence, yes. They ring all the doorbells and we collect it. See, y'all like, hey, that's right. Like, be neighborly, be friendly with people because you never know. Sorry, I just saw that comment, so I've got to go back to that comment, Terrace. You never know when you may need something. And a lot of times we don't think about being neighborly, right? I think in today's society, so many people they don't want to be bothered, right? Like, I don't want to be bothered either. I'm not that neighbor who is all up in your business, but I do think it's very important to speak to my neighbors, to let my neighbors know what, not all of my business, and not every neighbor, because everybody don't need to know when you ain't gonna be home. Okay, just saying. But I think it's important to give a heads up to people so you can look after one another. Okay, but let me go back to the college kid. So I'm like, all right, girl, did you call? So she's like, yes, she called. I think it was Walmart isn't covered by TRICARE anymore. I think it used to be, but not now. I don't know. But they told her it would be like $31, $40 or something for the flu shot. So she asked me if she should just go ahead and pay for the flu shot. And I was like, yes, that's what I then recommended, that she just go to her primary doctor and it would be free. She's like, it's 40 minutes away. Okay, we'll pay the $40 or get it on campus, right? Because they're doing it on campus for free. But she doesn't want the shot. She wants the mist. Okay. So, y'all, this grownish child of mine said, well, I could pay the $40 or you could just fly me home and I'll get it done at home. Child of mine. Look, we talking about $40 or just go on campus and get it done for free. It's already in your student fees, okay? That's number one. Number two, if it's $40, pay the $40. I will send you the $40. But why do you think I am going to tell you, no, just come home? Do you know how much those airline tickets are going to be? Like, no. Y'all, sometimes our grownish kids make you wonder. Well, for me anyway. Anyone else? Like, you dealing with grownish kids, whether it's your own children, nieces, nephews, cousins, friends of other kids. Dude, she ain't homesick. Girl ain't homesick. There, she is not homesick. And I say she's not homesick because this is my child who, so we moved her from San Diego to Bahrain in the Middle East her senior year of high school. She left 2 days after high school graduation back to the US for college because her program started. They had an intense 2-month summer program that she had to complete. This same child of mine over the summer went back to the Middle East for study abroad. She wants to come to the DMV to just be in the DMV. She don't even want to be home. She does not. And I talked to her this weekend, actually. She ain't homesick. She doesn't like needles. I don't like needles either. I'm like, girl, get the shot or pay the $40. Like, pay the $40. Just pay the $40. You know your father going to send you the money back. Now, me, on the other hand, I'm like, that's part of your allowance. So, but her father will give her the $40 back for this flu mist. Which again, I'm like, just go over to the student clinic. They're doing them for free on campus. Get the flu shot. What are we doing? And we will see her in a couple of weeks. So she ain't homesick. I'm even wondering, because she was talking about some concert that was happening in DC. So I'm like, is she trying to play the, oh, I need to come home? Which, again, she doesn't even have a primary. What's in the cup? Tea. Wow, what do you think's in the cup? It's too early. It's too early for anything else. What's in your cup, Terrace? And are you still taking photos? You're still doing your photography work, right? Can I give a shout out to you real quick? I'm gonna wait for you to respond to give me permission. Just in case you like, nah, girl, don't be telling people. Don't be telling people what I do. You know, I'm looking around my office to see if I still remember the photos you took when I was in college, when we were in Memphis together in college. And I have shown my kids those photos. They were like, what were y'all doing? But Mr. Love here is a photographer. He's an amazing photographer. He is in New York. And earlier you said Brooklyn, which, I'm coming to Brooklyn soon. That's just a little hint. But he does amazing photography work, like amazing. And we go way back to 99? Yeah, 99. You got orange juice in your cup? What else is in that orange juice? What else is in that orange juice? You not working today? You just down here listening to me ramble on? And folks, let me tell you, that is the one thing I love about doing Mamas and Coffee. Mamas and Coffee has been my little hub here on the internet. My website, mamasandcoffee.com, my Facebook page, my Instagram. Actually, I'm just starting my Instagram page for Mamas and Coffee. But it's been my little space of just coming, having real conversation, right? Like, I used to do these lives every morning. I would hop on. I used to come on at 7, between 7 and 7:30 a.m. in my PJs with my robe, my hair and my headscarf, eye boogers, slobber, like literally just woke up, rolled over, went downstairs, grabbed my cup of coffee, sat on the couch, and went live and just talked. And I loved doing that. And that was who I was. That's who I am. And then in 2021, I took a whole shift. I had a stroke. Y'all didn't know. I had a stroke in 2021, April 17th, as a matter of fact. Oh, you're off work today and you just have pulp in your orange juice? Okay. So you're not in your Clark Kent, you're in your, wait, Terrace, I'm talking. Yeah, Clark, because you talk about your Clark Kent. Sorry. Okay, see, I'm having an inside joke conversation. So if y'all know Mr. Love, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't know Mr. Love, you don't know what I'm talking about. So I'm not trying to tell all your business. He's a photographer by evening, and then he has his daytime job. So oh, dude, I do not have that accent anymore. I've lost that accent. You still think? And it's funny because I was talking to a gentleman the other day. Well, let me go back to Mama's a Coffee. So, because again, I'm just all random. This is me. But so I was doing the lives regularly. It was what I was doing. I really loved doing it. Then April 17th, 2021, I had a severe stroke. Totally caught us all off guard. I was at a party with my husband. We were at his farewell party. He was moving from the DMV because we were living in DC again at that time. We were moving to San Diego for his next assignment, the Navy. He was leaving out. He was supposed to have been leaving out like 2 weeks after that. He did not. Why? Again, because I had a severe stroke. So I had the full left facial droop, slur, like whole 9 yards. You looking at me now, you wouldn't know any of that. Although when I speak, I still hear a slur, and there is still often a disconnect in what I am thinking, what I am saying, what I'm trying to say, and when the words come out in my mouth, right? There's sometimes I'm like, come on, Sybil, get it together, but it's all good. I also I do not have complete feeling to the left side of my body. So yes, I have full use of my body left. I can walk, I can move, right? Like this is my left hand. All that is fine, but I don't have complete sensation to the left side of my body. So things get a little weird sometimes. One of the hardest things for me, and I laugh about it now, I didn't laugh about it at the time. It actually really hurt. I Mr. Love, I used to love my heels, but I could not wear heels anymore because I could not feel the ground. And I still don't feel the ground. Like my left foot does not feel the pavement or anything when I'm walking, right? But I've had to train myself to say, you're fine. You're walking. Your foot is touching the ground. You're good. And those are things that also started to mess with my mental psyche. Right? I used to be a very confident person. Okay, let's hop on a live. Good. We're going to talk. Oh, I'm going to enter a room. Fine. Like I was, like I walked in the room, it was like, doom, doom, doom. I'm here. What? Now I'm like, ooh, but I am getting my mojo back. And regardless, right? I'm like, I show up. This is me. Real, random, a little foggy sometimes, but it's all good. It's all good. I don't know why I told y'all that story. Actually, I do know why I told y'all that story. My husband tells me that I make it awkward when I bring up the stroke. He's like, yeah, it makes some people uncomfortable. But you know what? That's all right. I'm uncomfortable every day about it. I am. And I don't share it to make people uncomfortable. I don't share it for people to, or I don't share it to seek sympathy. I don't need sympathy. I share it to bring awareness. I bring it to share with people that, you know, as a fairly young, I was 43 when it happened. So 43, I'm like young, healthy, vibrant woman, no health risk at all. I had no health concerns, nothing. I didn't have high blood pressure. I didn't have high cholesterol, nothing. And I had a stroke. And my stroke was due to a rare cause known as carotid webbing. And it is often misdiagnosed, and it is presenting itself predominantly in African American women. So I say that to say, if you know someone who otherwise is a healthy human being and they have a stroke, right? And the doctors say, oh, we don't know. We can't find the cause. We don't know. Ask them to run additional tests, because my surgeons, I didn't know any of this. I was completely unconscious, right? It wasn't one of those, oh, I feel bad, let me go to the hospital. No, it was, I was out talking. I was running my mouth. We were at a party again. I was talking. They noticed my speech slurring. My husband saw that I had a full facial droop. He was sitting at a different table when they got his attention to come up to where I was. And I collapsed face first on the table at a brewery. We were out in public. Called 911, got me to the hospital. They did inject the TPA, clot buster medication. It did not take. So they had to do a thrombectomy, went in through my groin, up to the brain, removed the clot. But when they were trying to research my medical history, there was nothing in my medical history that indicated a concern for stroke. But there was one surgeon who pleaded his case every single day for a week. He said for an entire week, every single day, he pleaded his case on what he thought was the culprit. And they ran multiple tests. And they presented the information to my husband, who then agreed to move forward with that procedure. But I was released from the hospital before the procedure. I was fine. I had already started physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy. So that was just relearning to live, right? And people, I will say that I was one who took normal everyday tasks for granted. I took it for granted until I had to relearn to do those things. Things that just came very natural didn't come natural for me anymore. I wasn't able to drive. They took my, they did not fully revoke my license, but I was told I could not drive for 6 months. Yes, man, I'm still a baddie. I was unable to drive. So I was relying on, at the time, my eldest daughter, she was 16. So my eldest, 16, when it happened, I wanted to keep things as normal as possible. So a few months later, my entire family did move to San Diego. They delayed my husband from leaving, because he was leaving, like I said, in May, and I was staying behind until June for the girls to finish school. I was cleared to move the end of July. So my family packed up. We moved to San Diego in July, in which my care still continued. But let me back up to this. When I was released from the hospital and went home, I had a 16 14, and 12-year-old helping care for me. And if you know me, I don't want nobody doing jack for me. I got this, y'all. That was my attitude. I was like, I got this. I'm good. But there was, and I was, right? Again, I was still doing speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy, just learning the basics. I remember learning to make a sandwich. I'm 43 years old with 3 kids. I've made sandwiches. Now, granted, my kids didn't eat a lot of sandwiches as they were growing up, but I mean, I made sandwiches, but I am relearning to make a sandwich. Like, okay, you have a knife, like all of those things. Extremely humbling. Extremely humbling. But I got through all of those things, relearning to grocery shop. And I still have, so Wegmans here was one of my places that I went in after my stroke, like after my stroke, not like immediately after my stroke, but when it was like, okay, walk around, da 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 da. I didn't know how to check out. I did not know how to pay at the cash register. Still to this day, like, and I've gone to this Wegmans, now that we're back in the area, I've gone to the Wegmans 3 times. It is still extremely difficult for me to go to Wegmans. I'll go, but I am terrified of the store. But I'm working through it, right? I'm like, I'm getting my life together. I'm working through it. But one of the other things, and this is something I will talk more about here at Mamas and Coffee in the upcoming months, is the mental health side of it, right? Because again, stroke recovery, you think physical, occupational, speech. Those are the 3 things that are pushed. But what about the mental health side of the house? Mental health is a conversation people like to avoid anyway, right? People don't like to talk about it. Well, I'm here to talk about it with y'all because I call it mainly because I like to take any situation and look at the positives of it. I call my mental health struggles my BFFs, my best friends forever. I don't want them to be here forever, but they my BFFs, right? I'm like, all right, what you got for me today? We're gonna tackle this together. Anxiety, depression, some very dark days. Again, most people, because they see me, they're like, oh, Sybil, you're always so happy. Yes, it's easy. And I didn't understand this before until I had when we went to Bahrain, and I was clear because people are like, how did you get to Bahrain? I was clear, right? Health, again, my stroke is not health related. It's due to a actually, hold on, let me show y'all something. Squirrel moment, but I got to show y'all this. This is something else about my stroke, and we'll talk about the mental health another day. I think this is important to give you a little more information about carotid webbing, that cause of stroke. So y'all just bear with me. Just, got to keep up when you talk to me. So again, like I said, my stroke was due to a rare cause, carotid webbing, which is basically like an extra shelving here in the carotid artery. It's not anything that doctors are looking for, right? It's probably been like that my entire life. Nobody's looking for it. I'll even share with you guys an article about it. So I'm going to drop this link to my website, Stroke Talks. I'm going to put this in the comments for y'all. And if you scroll down on the homepage, there is an article written by Inova, which is the hospital that I was treated in. They wrote an article about my stroke. So go to stroketalks.com, scroll all the way down to the image, the logo, the Inova logo, and it says Quick Action and Comprehensive Care Saves Sybil After Rare Stroke. Read that. And it gives you a little more explanation about carotid webbing, as well as other articles that I have on my website there. But again, because there wasn't any, well, hold on, let me back up. And I do get a little nervous when I talk about stroke. A little nervous, a little emotional, but I'm not gonna cry this morning. It's a rare cause. It is a little controversial on the best treatment for it, because it is still rare, and people, you know, different opinions of how. I'm trying to get my cursor back, y'all. Sorry. Where is my cursor at? Okay, there we go. But this, I don't know if you can see it. This is what is in my neck now. This little bad boy is what's keeping everything nice and flush for the blood to stream smoothly to my brain. Keep it from circulating, or it keeps it circulating. It keeps it from, just swirling here, pooling, getting caught, and the clot breaking off, going to the brain. Now it keeps that extra shelving flush for the blood to flow smoothly. So I'm going to, again, just throw this up here on the screen, stroketalks.com. But this is what is inside my neck. This was a whole separate procedure. So I had to go back in the hospital for this procedure. This procedure for me was supposed to be a day procedure. In that morning, stay for a couple of hours for observation, and release late afternoon, early evening. No, it actually bought me another week in the hospital, because my body just was like, what the heck is going on here? And my blood pressure plummeted. They couldn't stabilize my blood pressure, but I was in great hands, and I'm okay. I didn't have to change anything about my diet, my lifestyle, nothing, because it wasn't anything that I had done wrong. And Mr. Love, that is probably the scariest part for me, because I'm like, I have done everything right. I have maintained a healthy lifestyle, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I eat healthy all the time. I eat my junk. But all of my medical appointments prior to my stroke, there wasn't an issue with my blood pressure. There wasn't an issue with my cholesterol. There was nothing. So what they have done, or what they did, like I said, my diet didn't change. They did put me on cholesterol medication. So I took that for a while, because it was more of like, okay, while I was in the hospital, let's do the regular precautions. I am on blood thinner, so I will remain on a blood thinner the rest of my life. It's mainly to ensure that this little bad boy, and I do carry this around in my backpack. I have my backpack right here by my desk, and when I travel, I have it with me. I don't pull it out to show people, but I do take this with me, just kind of as a reminder every day, like, But yeah, no, my diet didn't change. Nothing. It was, I call it a fluke. That's what I call it for myself. I call it a fluke. That day, It was a Saturday. Except we were at a party, but earlier that day I had been out with my middle daughter, the one who called, like, can I just come home to get a flu shot? No, pay the $40. Um, we were out at the barn because she used to ride horses, and she was practicing. She rode horses competitively. And so it was like a 4 hour practice. And I had driven her to her practice. I sat in the car because I don't do horses. So I was just sitting there waiting. Um, Went home, showered. I laid down that night. I mean, I laid down to take a nap because I was the designated driver that night for the party, because we were again going to a farewell party at it was the party was held at a brewery here, and I am getting up the courage to go visit that brewery because I need to go and sit down and just face it. Right, just whoo. But yeah, like that day it was just a normal Saturday. Like I said, been at the barn, went home, took a nap, got dressed. I did fuss. I fussed at the kids before I left. So I'm like, y'all need to make sure you clean your room, da 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 da. Like, just been a mom, went down my list of demands. And when I got back that night, or actually when we got back that night, but I wouldn't have noticed till Saturday or till Sunday morning because I was gonna be going to bed because it was late. We were planning on getting back late. Um, Got there like absolutely nothing. We took a picture. So there's a picture of me and my husband together at the place that we took just a few hours before the onset of my stroke. I have analyzed that picture. I can't tell you how many times over the past 4 years. And I'm like, is there anything? I've replayed that day. There was absolutely nothing. Like I didn't feel sluggish that day. Nothing. I even did a live the day before. I've gone back, I've looked at that. There was nothing. There was no indicators of anything wrong. I didn't feel sick. I didn't my last doctor's appointment, all of my vitals were perfect. I'm a buck oh seven, buck 10, right? So there wasn't even the issue with weight. Um, And I go back, like my knowledge of stroke was always you're old. Someone who's old. Like I'm not old. I ate healthy. I was exercising. I didn't have um I say a questionable lifestyle, meaning, no drug use, no alcohol abuse. Yes, I indulge in a cocktail here and there, one or two drinks from time to time. But there was absolutely nothing that would say, hey, Sybil, you might want to change the way, change your diet or change your life. So there was nothing. It just boom. And I do say this, and I'm like, thank God we were out because I'm like, we would have been home in the bed asleep, and it could have turned out a whole different way. I have seen my brain scans. Um, there was nothing. There was no blood flow. There was no activities going on over there. And when I tell people like the signs of stroke, because I didn't really know the signs of stroke before, right? But now I'm like, be fast. Someone's a balance. Their eyes, like, are they? Because that was something my husband said too. He was like, he had looked down at the table at me, and he's like, that I just had this blank stare on my face. Like I was just looking through him. He's like, it was like he was like, I was just looking straight through him. I, I'm like, dude, I didn't see you. Right. So someone's eyes, their focus, their gaze. F, face. Is there a facial droop? A, arms. Ask ask the person if they can lift their arms. Can they lift their arm? If they can, are they able to lift it straight out, or is there like this? So and I do still do these tests for myself sometimes, and I did them a lot when I first got out the hospital. But it's like, okay, can I keep my arm straight, or is there like a drift in one? Right? Is it drifting? Or can I just hold it straight out? So your arms, looking for a drift. S, speech. Is there a slur? And I thought about that too, right? Because we were at a brewery. I did have a beer, but I only had a few sips of a beer. That was it. I had only had like maybe a quarter of my beer. So I'm like, thank God they didn't think I was just drunk, right? Because you hear someone slurring their speech, you think, oh, they're drunk. But are they? And now when I'm out, I'm not going to lie. When I'm out and if I see someone who's a little off balance, a little slur in their speech, I'm watching. And I'm like, okay. Oh, no, they're drinking. Because my first thought is, oh, are they all right? And the T, time. Time is of the essence. Call 911 and tell the operator that you think the person or that the person is having a stroke, because that allows the EMTs to know what type of hospital they need to get you to. Every hospital is not equipped for a stroke. Okay, so when they called in the EMTs that called 911 for me, the EMTs knew they were picking up a stroke patient. All right, so they did get me to a hospital that could assess a stroke. They assessed it and they were like, yeah, nah, we need to get her to a trauma one hospital. So, Inova Fairfax is a comprehensive stroke hospital. Um, there's only like 120 of them in the US. And I thank God that I was near one. Because again, it been a rare cause, and this is something I read this a few years ago that and I do believe this happens, right? You have someone who's fairly young come in, stroke symptoms, and also people, and this is going to maybe sound a little crazy to some of you, but I am thankful that my stroke was severe enough that I wasn't able to walk in the hospital and say, I don't feel well. And I'm going to tell you why. Because it could have been easy for them to say, okay, let's check you out. Mm, yeah, you're talking to us. You look fine. Or they say, oh, yeah, you've had a stroke or you're having a stroke. Let's take care of you, right? They remove the clot, they do what they do, they put me in the hospital, but no one dig any deeper to what the cause is. Why? Because I'm young. I was at a hospital that had the latest technology and doctors who had the knowledge of this rare cause that said, nah, there is, because they checked for heart issues. Oh, they checked for AFib. Didn't, there was nothing there. They checked for a hole in my heart because that's a cause of a stroke. Wasn't there. They ran every test imaginable. This is TMI, but I'll go ahead and tell you, birth control can be a cause of blood clots. I do have the Mirena. So that was a thought. Oh, maybe it's her birth control caused the clot. My surgeon, no, that the clot would not have traveled that far. No, 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 no. And again, this man ran every test imaginable, and he stood his ground and said, this is what it is. And then, like I said, they did more testing, and it was like, yes, this is the cause. Karate wedding. So if you ever feel like, I'm, because there are warning signs. Some people do. I call them warning shots. I had none. I'm like, I had none that I can recall. I have thought back to like the summer before. I felt faint, right? There was some little weird things that were happening, but it wasn't anything that made me think, oh, am I having a stroke, or I'm having a TIA or a mini stroke, which is what a lot of people will refer to as a warning shot, right? There was nothing that made me think that was happening. Could that have been something? Possibly. I did go to the ER about it. They did a CAT scan. There was nothing there. Like, oh, so I'm like, okay, maybe I don't know. It's life. I'm going through the changes. Heck, I don't know. But again, like I said, when I had my stroke, it was a severe stroke that it knocked me out. Again, not to make light of it. I can laugh at it myself because I'm still here to talk about it. And you wouldn't know. You would never know by looking at me or talking to me until things get a little weird. I've had people ask me before, just as I'm talking to them, I'm just talking normally, thinking I'm having a good time, and for them to look at me and say, "Are you drunk?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not drunk." Why do you think I'm drunk? And I'm like, oh yeah, no, no, no. I had a stroke, and sometimes things just get a little weird sometimes. But no, I'm good. I'm good. I've only had water to drink today, or I've only had tea or coffee, whatever. But I tell people this, Mr. Love, and again, most people wouldn't know this by seeing me online or talking to me even in person. My day, when I wake up in the morning with just rolling over, waking up, going to the bathroom, taking a sip of water with my medication, because like I said, I do take a blood thinner, they took me off of my prescribed blood thinner. I now take a low dose aspirin every day, so that's my blood thinner now. I'll take one for the rest of my life. Just having that, like getting up in the morning, going to the bathroom, taking my 81 milligram Tylenol and drinking my water. My day starts out with me feeling like I've had, and again, because I do drink, so I know what it feels like to have 2 glasses of wine. My day starts out feeling like that. So I start out, my baseline now feels like I've had a few drinks. That's my baseline. And some days are hard knowing that, right? Also, for me, look, I totally got off topic of what I was supposed to be talking about today and talking more than 15 minutes, but it is what it is. I feel like I need to share this. Whereas before, I would, go grocery shopping. I could go to the grocery store, go to the mall, hang out with friends, come home, do something around the house. And I still felt good, right? Like I wasn't tired. I felt good. I was like, all right, yeah, the day is still young. What's next? Now, again, I wake up feeling like I've had a couple of glasses of wine, right? That's my baseline. I haven't had anything to drink. That's just my baseline. But then, okay, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm done. That's it. Like just the day-to-day basic life functions wipe me out. And I've had to learn again, and this is my story. I've had to learn to embrace that and say, it's okay. Like, you're fine, Sybil. And some people, oh, that's normal. That's how I've always been. That's not how I've been. That's not how your family member or friend who's had a stroke has felt. This is their new normal, and it is a not going to cuss. It is it is a struggle to accept that. But it is something that I am learning to accept. It's hard. It is hard. But it's like, okay, you know what, Sybil? You're good. It is what it is. And even like if I do go out and do something, it's going to take me a few days to get back to my baseline. The baseline that is already beneath my my old normal. And that was something else that I struggled with. I thought, oh, Sybil, you're recovered. Like I remember the doctors like talking to me about, oh, yes, your recovery is going great. Yes, you've recovered. So I'm like, I recovered. Yes. Not really understanding what that meant. Right. Because I was like, oh, okay, I'm back to normal. I'm back to doing all the things that I was doing before. Oh, nah. Okay. Yeah, I can do everything that I did. Right. Like, and I am very thankful for that. But it does affect me differently. And accepting how it affects me now, like what it does to me. And it's all that's not only something that affects me, but it affects my family because they're having to adjust and learn. And when I talk about the mental health part of things, um then I'm gonna be quiet and then I'm gonna leave close with this little this little jokey joke that sometimes people are like, so well, that's not funny, but I find it funny. Is the emotional toll, right? Like there were times I've improved, and this is something too for family members and friends. You know someone who's had a stroke, and you're like, they are just being irrational. Hey, emotions are hard. Like I people who know me, like I've always been like calm. I'm chill. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. Not too much bothered me. Now I can go from 0 to 100. And it's learning to control those emotions. Like I've had to do a lot of work for that because like there have been times. There was one incident in particular, and I'll share it on another live. I saw myself. I was standing outside of my body, out of body experience, watching myself, and I couldn't stop myself. And that's scary. That is scary, right? Like it's like, nah, Sybil. Like I felt the rage. And it's like, Sybil, what's wrong? Girl, what you doing? And then it just burst. Um, let's just say I'll say this. Um, my husband was kind enough to go buy me a new laptop. He was kind enough to we had to get all new dishes in the house. We had to chocolate ice cream is not really allowed in my house right now. But it was one of those moments, a very scary moment that pushed my family, my husband and my kids. Again, at this time, um, they were, because my stroke happened in April. I have summer babies, so 17, 15, and 14. It took all of them, my family, my husband, and my kids to say, hey, you know what? No more. We're going to take you. You need to get some mental therapy. Again, there is the physical, the occupational, and the speech, but there was that mental health piece that was missing, because I thought, I'm good, I'm good. And depending on where your stroke happens in your brain, it does. So I have 3 areas in my brain that my stroke affected. Um, I need to actually make an appointment because they were monitoring for they. I was supposed to be going every year because they were monitoring the spots on my brain, and then as well as every 6 months, I get my carotid artery checked to make sure that that stent is holding and doing what it's supposed to be doing. But that's a whole nother story. But I'm gonna close with this. I'm gonna be done. So, and this is my jokey joke that makes me feel good. It helps me laugh, smile. So, and then also made me think about it even more. So last weekend I went out to eat with my youngest daughter, and I was sitting there, and there was this lady, this elderly lady, and I kept staring at her. She looked like my granny. Now, my granny is black. This lady is a white lady, but I saw her and I just kept staring at her. She was my, I was like, you be my cousin. But she looked a lot like my granny. So when I finished eating dinner, I went over to their table and I spoke with her a little bit. She couldn't hear me, but I told the people who she was with why I came over to the table. And it made me think about something because, like I said, I got back here in May, and just going to grocery stores, just regular places. Some places have been a little difficult for me, but I'm getting it together because I've been back in the place where the stroke happened, right? And I've been thinking about my granny. So my grandmother died August of 20, August 2020, 98. And if you've been around Mamas and Coffee for a while, and if you're in the Facebook group Mamas and Coffee, I would always be like, my granny said, my granny says, my granny. I used to be, my granny says, my granny says. um, and I don't know, Mr. Love, if you ever, when we were in college, ever heard me talk about, well, my granny says. But after my stroke, and after being home, or actually even when I was in the hospital, because I was in ICU and then on the stroke unit, which, by the way, is extremely lonely. Um, my kids sent a bear. Actually, the bear is in my bedroom. Mr. Bear, that my granny got me when I was a baby. So the bear is now 48 because I'm now 48. Bear is 48 years old. To the hospital, and I just I would cry and cuddle my bear because I didn't have I wanted to call my granny, but I couldn't talk to my granny. But I had my bear, and I remember making this joke. Again, like I said, I still make the joke. I'm like, my granny was like, hey, because my granny would always be like, Bootsy, stop wasting your gift. Everybody has a gift. God blesses everyone with the gift. And when you don't lose your gift, yes, you say it. My granny said, right? Because grannies have lots of wisdom, okay? But my granny would always tell me, if you don't use your gift, God's going to snatch your gift. And she's like, your gift is, you could talk to anybody. You talk to a stop sign if it would talk back to you. She's like, use your, because I used to be like, well, Granny, I don't know. And I remember asking God, God, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And I did believe, and I still do believe, that my purpose is just building community, bringing people together to be themselves, right? Like, just be yourself. Show up as you, 100% authentically you. You ain't got to be perfect. I'm over here doing this live, just talking. I'm not trying to fit into anybody's box. Hey, this is me. Even my whole slogan, know you be you, love you. I have this trademark, by the way. Know you be you, love you. Know who you are, be who you are, love who you are. Okay. But anywho, that's part of Mama's and Coffee. But anywho, let me focus. So my little jokey joke about my granny. And I'm like, okay, I'm talking, blah, 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 blah. Again, like I said, when my stroke, the onset of my stroke, I was talking. I was talking, sitting at a whole different table with people that my husband worked with. I know these people. I'm just over there talking, cracking jokes, having a good time. And I'm like, my granny is like, Lord, yeah, I just need you to scare her. Because my prayer was, Lord, I need you to show me what you want me to do. Like, maybe you need to hit me upside. I remember saying, maybe you need to hit me upside my head. And he did. He hit me up, stroke, brain attack, right? Hit me upside my head. But I joked and I said, my granny was like, Lord, just scare her. Just scare her. But please, please let her live. It's quiet. I just got to heaven because I do believe that my granny is in heaven. I just got to heaven. She gonna talk. she's gonna, she's gonna, she's gonna. If just leave her on Earth for like 50 more years or so. Just don't, because you just need to scare her. Because if you bring her to heaven, she gonna come up here and talk to me. I just need peace. Let me have silence for a little bit. Please just let me have silence for a little while. I know. Some people may not find that funny, but I find it hilarious because I'm a little comedian at heart too. I have laughed, I have cried through this. I have laughed through this. I have cussed through this because I'm a human being. Right? There have been days, again, this is just me being transparent with y'all. There have been days that I haven't wanted to get out the bed. Right? I'm just like, I don't want to get out of the bed. There have been times, there have been, if I'm completely transparent with y'all, there have been some really, not anymore because I've gotten it together. Um, I used to think, well, how could someone really have these type of dark thoughts of harming themselves? I'll be honest. I was there, and it was scary. It was a very scary time for me. But through sharing, because there for a while I didn't talk about the stroke or about my stroke because I started talking about it and I would get, oh, Sybil, nobody wants to hear about this. Oh, Sybil, you're showing up all emotional. You need to work on yourself and get yourself together before you come and share these things. And I'm like, I don't show up wanting to cry on my lives. I don't show up wanting to laugh on my lives. I just show up and I talk. And whatever I start talking about is what I talk about, and whatever emotions come out are the emotions that come out, because I'm being real with you. Right? I'm not saying anything that I don't say to myself in the mirror. I do. Again, if you've been around Mamas and Coffee for any amount of time, you know I used to be really big on mirror talk, right? Just having morning pep talks with yourself, right? Like that was my thing. Like, yeah, I'd get up in the morning and just having morning pep talks with myself. I still do, but those pep talks have changed because before going through something, and me and a friend of mine, we used to talk about this before my stroke, and we talk about it now, right? Like pre-stroke, life was great. I was skipping through sunflower fields, right? I'm like, all right, Sybil, your self pep talk today is just like, girl, you got this, you good, you looking good, yeah, and I believed it, right? I believed it. But then after my stroke, I didn't necessarily believe it, right? Because I was battling with who I was pre-stroke and who I was after my stroke. And again, it was one of those things that was more of a internal battle than it was external, right? Because you're like, oh, Sybil's posting online. Sybil's taking the selfies, posting, and she's talking, and um, she's still out here inspiring people to be the best person that they can be. But honestly, Sybil, the little Sybil, because, again, people that know me personally, the little Sybil, because, like when I go back home, because I'm from Tennessee, although I'm a full grown woman married with grown kids now, I'm still little Sybil to everybody. That little Sybil was hurting on the inside. Why? Because my whole life was flipped upside down. My whole life that I thought I was doing everything right. Right? There was no way that I would have a stroke. They're like, what? Like, how did that happen? And I don't actively think about it. I'm not actively thinking every day, like, oh, what if another stroke happens? I'm not. Like, I do not actively think that. But there are little reminders every single day. And I tell, I've said to people, again, not comparing pre 21 and post 21, but I used to always be like, oh yeah, 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 you got to stay one step ahead of your mind, right? Like, girl, you got this. That was me, right? Now, being on the other side of it, I'm like, okay, be 10 steps ahead of your mind, Sybil. Don't let your mind wander, right? And I recognize it. And I'm like, okay, reel it in. Reel it in. And this is some, and I'm gonna be quiet now for real. Um, or not, I don't know. But this is all for knowledge for anyone who has, again, a family member or a friend who's had a stroke. And if you start noticing little changes like of isolation, right? That was me. I began to isolate. If your loved one who's had a stroke begins to isolate, yes, they may just need time, right? Like they don't want to go out because they're tired. But pay attention and don't force, but be a little encouraging to get them out of the house. I was not actively thinking about, oh, what if I have a stroke out in public? I wasn't thinking that. I was terrified of going out in public because I was afraid of how I sounded and behaved to other people. Because again, I still hear a slur when I speak, although I know I have full um, um, movement of the left side of my body. There are times, like I said, I don't have I don't have full sensation. Well, all the time, I don't have full sensation of my left side of my body. So I was very self conscious of how I was presenting to people. It may sound crazy to you if you have a loved one who's had a stroke and they have no, and that let me say that that is also another. It's going to sound crazy. Difficult part for me because I have no physical signs of a stroke, right? Because most people they think a stroke. You see that facial droop, you see that gait, like I call it the stroke walk, right? There's like the gait, someone's um, gait, the way they walk is different, or they have um, like the hand like maybe held different. So I do have, again, I have full usage of my left hand, but I have pain all day long. So there are times that my left hand, it doesn't ball up. It doesn't, like, I don't have that issue, but it does throughout that it gets stuck sometimes. I actually, it's in my backpack because I keep it in my backpack as well. I have a hand grip thing, and I do squeeze it from time to time just to keep things moving, to keep things going, because it will just, the hand will just lock up. And all of those things. And I do still think about it sometimes, but I think I have finally come to terms that no one is really paying attention or thinking anything about it. It's all in my mind. Like my husband's always like, Sybil, it's all in your head. And I'm like, what, dude? And I'm like, okay, it is all in my head. But I am taking, I have been looking back at some of my old videos pre-stroke and the advice that I used to give to the world. It says mamas and coffee, but my message is to everybody, right? It's not just to mamas, it's for everybody. I've been taking some of my own messages and my own little pep talks I used to record for other people, that I have out in the social media sphere, and listening to them for myself, because I'm like, I need those little words of encouragement for myself. And it's okay. Like, I've admitted it. I am admitting, I've admitted to my family, I've admitted publicly before, and I'm admitting publicly again, especially as I am gearing up for 2026 and what um, my mission is going, what my mission is as a person, as a mom, or hold on, let me back up. As a person, as a wife, as a mom, as a stroke survivor, and just overall, just being a person, I'm like, I have to admit again, more so to myself than publicly, what my own struggles have been, so I can build that community, the real, true, honest community for other people to feel comfortable to come sit down at the table and have these conversations with me. I don't ever want anyone to think, oh, yeah, she's over there. Take now, Mr. Love, we are gonna hook up. We gonna get together on some dates for when I'm gonna be in the area, so we can get some photos. The one that I'm thinking of right now was the white. in the white dress. That's not the one my kids were asking about. You know which one my kids were asking about. They were like, I was like, that was for I was modeling. Don't worry about it. But I was like, stroke, come back. No. sorry. But you know, I I believe in showing all sides of who I am. In 2026, that is what y'all are going to get. So, hope you're ready. Take the ride with me. I'm gonna get off here. I need to go take a nap because I talked too long. And thank you for tuning in. And remember to know you, be you, and love you. And tell your friends to check out Mamas and Coffee. I'll ramble, but hey, as I tell folks, my coffee chats are just like sitting down on the couch having a conversation. Because if you come to okay, now if you're a stranger, I'm not bringing you to my house, but I like to keep conversations like we're friends, right? Like we are sitting on my couch, just having a conversation, sipping on some tea or some orange juice with pulp. You like, I haven't forgotten those comments. You like pulpy? What? You like extra pulp or light pulp? Yeah, I'm going back to that. Yeah. But yeah, Mr. Love, no, my diet has not changed. They told me to I'm circling back. They did tell me just continue doing what I was doing because there was no issue with that at all. It was what I call a fluke. And oh, I'm gonna say this because I just got to throw this in because I was really excited about this part. Some of my friends and my family may also be like, "Oh Lord, I can't believe you told people this." So after my stroke, after everything, my I'm really proud of this. I really am. But I became part of medical research. And they started researching my feces, my poop. Yes, y'all. Yes, I was really over in my Mamas and Coffee Facebook group. I talk about poop, right? We all poop, right? Like we all poop. But I was really excited that they wanted they asked me about being part of medical research for stroke recovery. And I was like, yeah. And they, so I was mailing samples of feces back. But when I left the hospital, before I was discharged, they took my poop sample, which I took a picture of it because I was using like the bedpan, right? So I took a picture of it and sent it to one of my friends. I was like, look, see, I share. I was sharing, right? Like this was a whole journey. I had to share it with somebody. Sorry. All right. Now for real. Y'all have a wonderful, fabulous day. Remember to know you, be you, and love you. Bye.